Hey guys, welcome back. So, boosted boards, the incredible electric skateboards that if you've been on YouTube for any length of time, I'm sure you've seen them in places like...
After living in New York City for 17 years now, nothing has changed the way that I interact with this city more than getting a boosted board.
Or, maybe places like... Or even places like... They're pretty well known, and I'm almost positive you've seen one somewhere at some point, because they were probably one of the biggest electric skateboard companies around. But recently, they basically went out of business. I don't know the full details as to what happened or what caused it. Their assets and IPs have been sold to Lime Scooters, but other than that, the original staff and idea of Boosted is basically gone. I'll plan to talk about that more in a future video. For now, I want to talk about if you have a boosted board or if you want a boosted board, where can you buy boosted boards used? Where can you get remaining stock? Where can you buy parts and replacements and whatever you need, service even. And I'm also going to talk about some communities that you can refer to if you need help with diagnosing issues or whatever, because in my experience, the boosted people are just so incredibly willing to help. There's a really great community out there that I definitely recommend you become a part of if you do have a boosted board, because there's literally no harm in doing it. I personally have a Boosted Mini X, which I have had for, is it 2 years now? Something like that. And I use it almost every day, especially during the summer. I use it to get pretty much everywhere I go. I love my boosted board. It's been referred to as
the Tesla of electric skateboards.
And that is absolutely true. It's a really well-built piece of machinery. That being said, let's head over there and talk a bit more about where you can maybe get some parts and supplies for your board, because boosted boards need things like belts, and eventually parts are going to give out and you're going to need to replace them. So let's talk about that over there. So let's talk about places where you can get parts and repairs for your boosted board. And if you want to buy a boosted board for whatever reason, where can you buy a boosted board or maybe sell your boosted board? Obviously, because the company's out of business, it's going to be a bit more difficult than it might have been a few months ago. But there are still a few direct stores and resellers where you can buy original boosted parts and modified or aftermarket boosted parts. My personal favorite at the time of recording this video is Boosted USA. Boosted USA took advantage of Boosted's remaining stock, thousands of items just lying there. They bought out Boosted's remaining stock, and they're now reselling it for the same prices in the original packaging. So you can buy genuine boosted parts for the same price with, pretty good customer service. Now, I want to clarify that Boosted USA is not Boosted. And since Lime bought out Boosted's assets and IPs, they're not allowed legally to produce new boosted parts. So once the remaining stock that they have is gone, it's gone for good. So if you want to stock up on legitimate boosted supplies, you might want to do that sooner rather than later. I'll leave a link below to a detailed story about what Boosted USA is and who runs it and, if it's a reliable source. I personally put a bunch of money into stocking up on boosted supplies like belts and bearings and a bunch of those things before that original, legitimate, genuine stock runs out. Now, obviously, for things like the belts and the bearings, you can pretty easily find third-party or aftermarket supplies that will work probably just fine or maybe even better. And to the best of my knowledge, the best suppliers for that are I Heart Skate and Fat Daddy. There's also things like 12 Board Store and Skate Supply, which I don't know much about, but I'm pretty sure they are selling boosted products, just not necessarily the original boosted stock. Things like wheels can also be found in the aftermarket, but you're not going to find like the original boosted Lunars, or I can't remember what the larger wheel was called, but the original boosted wheels. I personally really love the boosted wheels. They have a really nice smooth feel and really great aesthetic. So personally, I bought a full set of wheels from Boosted USA before they run out of stock of those. Now, obviously, things like third-party accessories for the boosted boards are still going to be available, like the shred lights, the lights that clip onto your boosted board to help you ride at night. Those are still available from the original seller. That company has not gone out of business. As for things like belt covers and skid plates and things like that, you can actually find 3D printer files where you can 3D print these parts and put them on your board. Since the skid plates are already made out of plastic, it's going to work pretty much as well as you might get from genuine boosted products. And since they don't serve really much functional purpose, you're probably pretty well off just printing those rather than buying them. If you don't have a 3D printer, there are tons of online services that will 3D print your 3D designs for you. You just give them like a .stl or a .obj file. I personally have a 3D printer, so I don't really worry about that, but I do know that these services exist. So next up, let's talk about some of the boosted communities that are out there that can help answer any questions you might have, or help you service your board, or anything like that. Alright, so there are a few communities of boosted people that can help you answer any questions you might have, and maybe help you service your board. In my experience, one of the best ones out there is the Boosted Reddit. I've commonly used the Boosted Reddit to answer any questions that I had about servicing my board, like how to tension belts, replace the motors, technical things like that. These people know so much about boosted boards, it's crazy, and they're so generous with their time and so willing to help. If you are on Reddit, you should definitely join the subreddit, because just really great information there, and so many people willing to help you. Another source of community members that I have less experience with, but I do know exists, is the Boosted Legacy Discord. I don't have nearly as much experience with this, but it looks pretty legit, and from what I've seen, it seems like people are pretty willing to help and are pretty knowledgeable. If you are on Discord, I'd strongly recommend joining the Boosted Legacy Discord server. So if you ever need information, it might be handy to have that information readily available, already joined, just there for you. Overall, I'm really quite sad that Boosted has gone out of business, but I am going to try to squeeze every last minute out of my boosted board that I can possibly get. Boosted boards are just, in my experience, so well built, and just this indefinable build quality that just makes it feel like a really great product. That being said, if you are looking at buying a boosted board, I'm not completely sure I would recommend buying it now. There are alternatives that would provide, a warranty and better customer support at this point. If you already have a boosted board, please, get every last minute out of it, because it's just such an incredible piece of machinery. But I'm not sure I would recommend buying a new one. That being said, that's about all I have to tell you today. Thank you all so much for watching. Maybe leave a like to help other people find this video and maybe answer some of the questions that they were having. And make sure to check out the links that I've left in the description, because it'll have a lot more information about what happened Boosted, and I'll leave links to places like Boosted USA and the Boosted Reddit. And you know what, while you're at it, right above the description is this big red button called the subscribe button. And you should definitely hit that, because I'm definitely going to be releasing more boosted content in the future, and I'm so excited to share more about my boosted experience with you, and maybe some boosted alternatives. But that's about all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.